2, 3.
Wait, something in your teeth.
Hi, I'm Chris.
I'm Kendra.
We're from Evolved Dating Gurus, and we're here today to talk to you about social anxiety and building your own social anxiety toolkit. I can remember a time when I was younger and had really sweaty hands. That was how it showed up for me. I remember once being at some kind of a square dancing thing, I think, at school. And
back in the day when we
way back, and I was excited about it. I was like, ooh, I get to dance with the girls a little bit. What happened one day was that I had to hold hands with a girl that I really liked but hadn't really talked to that much, so I'd never really revealed that I liked her. And I went to hold her hand, and all of a sudden she pulled away. Ew, what's wrong with your hands? From that point forward, I had sweaty hands. I thought about going in situations where I had to hold hands or shake hands, and it really, messed with me for a long time. Traumatic schoolyard way.
I had social anxiety my whole life. In one way, it could show up where I would just be funny. I'm just fuck it. I'm going to be the funny girl who's just going to be making fun of myself before anybody else can. Or, doing random antics.
Back of the classroom clown?
Yeah, I was totally classroom clown.
Too.
Love-hate relationship with all my teachers. It manifested in ways of needing to be on something when I socialized. That was the only way that I felt like I could actually be present, because otherwise I was just totally in my head and in my thoughts and wouldn't want to go out.
One of the ways that I was able to start to overcome the sweaty hand syndrome, which actually is called hyperhidrosis for those of you out there that might have that. One of the things that really helped was I got a girlfriend in high school who I really felt comfortable with. Over time, I felt like I could really be myself, and I could tell her, and she was, able to fully hear it and be okay with it and reassure me that it was fine. But the real thing I think that helped was just being able to name what I had and be vulnerable and release some of the fear and tension around it.
So we call that name it, don't blame it. Now, I've used this over and over again. If I'm in a social situation, especially we'll do talks in front of a bunch of people and I still will get anxious. And so I'll just name that. Wow, I'm feeling really nervous right now. And just by naming it, it actually can relieve some of that tension, because now I'm not putting energy towards trying not to seem anxious. I always get really poopy before we do events.
And I'll tell the audience, hang on a minute before we get going.
Name
I just
your
need to take
poop and you'll feel
I tell you.
calmer.
And we'll cut this bit out, but I just wanted to, name that.
So I want to talk about a recent situation where, because I still have social anxiety pop up once in a while. These are my floating quotation marks. I was at a wedding. It kind of had a high school reunion vibe to it. I noticed myself while I was there making up stories in my mind. Fuck, I haven't seen these people in a long time. What are they going to think of me? I don't think that person liked me in high school. Name the negative thought that I had, and I was having it at some point.
You?
Yeah.
Damn.
And then I realized, because I've been, I practice mindfulness, I teach it all the time, and I go, wow, isn't it interesting that I'm caught up in all of these stories? They're probably not even true, and even if they are true, I'll never know, because it's not like somebody's actually going to come up to me and say, by the way, I hate you. One of the things in my social anxiety toolkit is to check my thoughts. I just use this sentence stem, isn't it interesting that I'm having this thought? Then I come to a thought that's more useful. So the thought that I came to in that moment was, I'm just going to be open and take this all in. And as soon as I did that, I wasn't othering myself now. Now I was part of it, and I was witnessing the beauty and the life and the connections that were happening around me. Before I knew it, then all of a sudden I was connecting with people. Whereas before I felt like I was on the side looking out and feeling different and stupid or whatever.
One that I like to do now is do a grounding technique. Grounding is feeling yourself connected to your body and your body connected to the earth's energy. I do a little visualization practice where I'm a tree and I imagine my roots starting to go down into the earth and one big tap root going really deep into the earth and feeling like super solid and connected like a huge tree. That magically, like within seconds of imagining that and feeling that sensation, totally changes my vibe, my ability to feel calm, relaxed.
Another thing that can be really helpful is counting. What can happen when we get social anxiety is that we start going into the sympathetic nervous system, which is kind of like the fight or flight mode. Mm-hmm. And so now we're in like almost a survival mode on some level. So the reptilian brain is going, how do I get out of this? Like, I need to fight or flee. And then if the neocortex can start to count, then it's like, okay, we're counting now. I have something to pay attention to. And so now you're engaging this other part of the brain, which then allows you to relax more into the parasympathetic nervous system.
Relax.
Another tip is that exhaling longer than the inhale actually encourages the parasympathetic nervous system. If you count for 4 seconds on the inhale, and then if you exhale for 6 seconds, that can actually encourage the parasympathetic nervous system. And the parasympathetic nervous system is the rest and digest, whereas the sympathetic nervous system is the fight or flight. Rest, digest, fight, flight.
Ooh, I have one. I used to get a little nervous when I was on planes flying. I'd be sitting in the chair and we'd be on the runway and I'd be like, let's go. Like, the taking off part used to make me feel anxious. And I read somewhere that like you could induce the parasympathetic nervous system by looking at the tip of your nose. So when you see like these yogis and they're meditating, and it looks like their eyes are all cross-eyed like this, you should try it at home. Like cross your eyes, look at the tip of your nose, and just start to breathe. And I know this probably looks weird on video, but whatever. Within seconds, boom. Think how it works is that you start to get out of your head again. And you're into the focal point that's something besides my thoughts of being nervous. Try that at home, kids.
Another great one is movement. So a lot of times when we experience anxiety, it tends to live right in this area. We have our whole body to spread that energy through, plus the space around our body. And so if we're keeping all of this anxious energy right in here, no wonder why we feel overwhelmed. Like, that's overwhelming for the system to have it all concentrated in that area. So to just simply like shake it out a little bit, rub your hands, and if you can, like maybe even spaz out and dance a little bit before we do workshops and talks and stuff. This is a good one. You can do this with another person or against a wall, and you just push as hard as you can and make sure that you're focusing on breathing, and that can help. That can help relieve some of the energy. Because if you think about it, if you're in fight or flight, your body is orienting towards movement. So if you're not moving and you're just stiffening up and not breathing, then again, that's overwhelming to the system. I
like to, when I'm in like a sales meeting or something, I like to just start like slapping myself all over my body. And we teach this to CEOs all over the world. It's just called the body slap situation. Really, if you're at home alone and you're feeling some tension of thought about, something you got to do that day, works cool. Slappage.
Cool. Well,
what else? Boundaries. The zone. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about the zone.
Yeah, so
the force be with you.
Something that's really helped me with my social anxiety has been to actually envision my boundary around myself. So you can try this right now. Try this at home. Put your hands up like this so that you're like almost kind of protecting yourself from me and Chris. This is your boundary.
Stop in the name of love.
So you're holding up your hands like this, and just notice how you feel. Notice your breath. Notice your muscles, how it feels in your body. And notice how you feel in relationship to us. Okay, now shake that off. And now go like this. And sorry, you won't be able to do this as an example, but just open up your arms like this and kind of have your chest out so that you're just like, I'm open to whatever. And so let yourself feel that. And imagine that somebody's in front of you and you're like this. See if that feels comfortable or uncomfortable or whatever. And now try this. So just holding a space in front of you. So you're kind of, containing yourself.
It's like I'm hugging myself.
Or hugging yourself. Yeah.
Nice.
And take a couple breaths there and feeling yourself in relationship to us. And then you can let that go. I know for myself, this feels really rigid. It feels like I'm defensive and keeping people out. This feels too exposed and like I could, anything could happen. I could be taking in other people's stuff or whatever. And this feels like I'm really holding myself. So the tip is, it's not like the heat just turned on. Should we wait until it
Making
turns
love
off before we continue?
No, let's keep going. It's kind of cool.
Visualizing your personal boundary is kind of holding yourself can create a feeling of warmth and softness and containment, and like I'm in charge of what comes in and out of my experience.
And then even touching yourself is something I've started to adopt for myself. One of the things we think is really important about all these skills and tips that we're teaching is that you practice these when you're not necessarily right in the middle of the stressful situation. Starting to create daily practices where you're calm, relaxed, and you can developing those new muscles in a way that will be there for you when you need them under any environment, discomfort.
Some people will learn a bunch of self-regulating techniques or something and then think that they're only going to use them when shit hits the fan. But I think that's kind of a backwards way to do it because it's going to be a lot less accessible to you if you haven't been practicing it when you're calm. We made a list of all of these from the video plus more. See what ones draw your attention the most. Start with one, practice it while you're calm, and then try it out and about when you're with people.
I know for myself, having practiced these a lot over the last 5 years, has really translated into this being myself way more confident, way more relaxed in any situation.
So with the self-touch, the way that works, and I've done quite a bit of research on it, which is that self-touch is actually associated with increasing oxytocin, that chemical that gets released when you're snuggling with somebody, touching, that makes you feel bonded and connected. So you can touch your heart, touch your belly, give yourself a little massage or a little hug so that you can feel more relaxed in different situations.
Kind of like we do right now.
Is that annoying you? I probably annoying
It's
you.
so cute and comfortable. We love you.
I wish you love. Let's do a tandem dance.
A what? What is that?
Together, tandem.
Let's do a 3-legged race on the sofa.
Ready?
Ready?
Go. Woo! You won. That was stupid.